Members of the OG Army, get those wallets unfolded. Coming up next on the OtherGround live stage, prepare for an eargasm by Passive J and Big Dalton.
Well, good afternoon, and welcome to yet another edition of OtherGround Live. I'm Passive J. That's Big Dalton over there. Say hello, Ryan.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is June the 23rd. It is a Tuesday, and I've got absolutely nothing. How's it going, Jay?
Holy shit, that was some horrible fucking feedback in my ears from you. I don't know what was going on for a second. Other than that, it's going awesome, sir. Having an interesting day. How'd your day go?
It was a long fucking day. We'll put it that way. Definitely had another 3 hours of cardio. Went and did some bench this afternoon, and kind of fucked up my back doing it. So that's gonna be fun getting up in the morning.
Oh, is it too soon to tell how bad?
It was one of those things
until you get up in the morning.
Yeah, it was one of those things that just tweaked it in the most ridiculous way. So I sit up after a set of benching, and as I just sit up and turn, I just tweak it a little bit. But since my back is so injured to begin with, that's the type of thing that could really fuck you up. So hopefully it's no big deal.
Right. I do that all the time. It's one of the reasons why I on my workout days, obviously I stretch quite a bit. On my days off, I always make sure I do some stretching before I get in the shower, because for some reason or another, the shower is where I seem to fuck up my back. I'll just be showering myself and turn slightly to the left to grab the shampoo off the shelf, and I fucked up my back. So once I started stretching before I got in the shower, that kind of stopped happening. And I have no clue why it's specifically the shower. I mean, it's happened other times. So reaching out to grab something and just randomly something in your back starts fucking with you. But the shower seems to be the most common place for me for some reason.
Yeah, with me, it's one of those random things, right? I have a severely messed up spine, so every once in a while you just move slightly the wrong way, and yeah, there it goes.
Right. In my case, I assume it was always weak back muscles in general, because obviously that will cause a problem. So something I'm working on though. Yay. Let's see. I don't really got shit today either. I had a busy day, and I can't really talk about most of it because it's work related. So but let's see if I try to get. I think I got one or two things to talk about before we have to go to Yahoo News to supplement the show, so to speak. Well, I did see on the good old internet that New Yorkers are fed up with the amount of illegal fireworks being set, and they gathered at the mayor's residence at night, on the 22nd. So yesterday night, and chanted, "If we can't sleep, you won't sleep," all night long, apparently. Which apparently, although reading further, it seems like they've got a little bit of cause to be upset, because the city's 311 system recorded 849 fireworks complaints between June 1st and June 14th this year, compared with 21 during the same period last year.
Yeah, and then the stupid thing is de Blasio came out today and made a grand press conference about how, he's going to do these gigantic sting operations and really crack down on these illegal fireworks, as if that's really the thing New York City needs to be focused on.
Well, because someone made a stink and put it on the front page of Yahoo, so of course now it's super important.
Yeah, as if they don't have more important things going on.
Well, just in your area in general, are fireworks illegal? I mean, like here in Michigan, for years and years, you were allowed to pretty tame fireworks, but nothing that exploded or left the ground, which kind of limited things. A while back, I want to say somewhere between 5 and 10 years ago, they basically changed their mind, because Ohio was making a lot of money selling fireworks to Michiganiers who drove down across the border and then brought it back up anyways. So I'm not a huge fan of residential fireworks. They're annoying for the most part. I never really saw the allure of buying stuff to blow up, just to make sound and noise. I mean, shit, basically you're setting your money on fire. And I can figure out much funner ways to spend that kind of money than setting it on fire. And it annoys dogs, and it annoys me when I try to sleep. So I've never been a big fan of them. How about you there, Big Dalton?
I've never been a huge fireworks guy. It's kind of cool, as a kid watching 4th of July fireworks. Okay, yeah, whatever. As I got older, I
Right.
could just take it or leave it. Like, I really just don't give a shit.
Well, were residential style fireworks big when you were a kid? Because like I said, depending on which state it was, some states just had none of them at all. So you didn't have people like blowing shit up on in their backyard on the 4th of July, or setting up like little mini versions of the fucking commercial fireworks that you've seen out of the backyard. And once again, as a kid, that stuff was cool, and I loved like the commercial fireworks displays. But as I grew older, the residential style shit just started to annoy me. You didn't really have a residential stuff around you growing up?
Some. So for the most part, fireworks were illegal in Iowa. So you had to drive down to Missouri to get it. But yeah,
Mm,
now and then we would, like over the 4th. So like on the actual 4th, we'd go and watch, whatever town was going to have the best fireworks. But kind of over that, that Independence Day week, yeah, a lot of times we'd go out like to the farm or something like that and do it there. Like that's not something you would do in like the middle of town. It's just kind of a douchey thing to do.
right, right. Which is what you have happening here, because I'm sure it happens out in the middle of nowhere, but this is all suburb type stuff. So you have, while it's sprawling, it is still suburbs, and in most cases you're normally 50 to 300 feet from your neighbor, depending on how big your lots are and how they're set up. But yeah, so it's kind of douchey to do it at any time of year. During the 4th of July, you get a lot more of it, but basically any time in the summer on a random night, you can hear people setting off fireworks maybe once or twice a week. Um, I don't know. I guess I'm old.
Jay, are you telling me there's no farms in Brooklyn?
I'm probably in Brooklyn. Brooklyn? No, probably not. I'm sure
God
in the
damn,
state of
sir.
New York, obviously, I state of New York. I'm sure there's all kinds of rural areas. But Brooklyn sounds even more built. When you say Brooklyn, I think movie Brooklyn, and that's way more built up than where I am. I'm like suburb as opposed, and that seems really more urban. I'm sure. Is there?
No,
I'm sure
Jay,
there's suburbs.
there are not farms in Brooklyn. It's a borough of New York
Okay,
City.
okay, that's
Being
that's right.
facetious,
That's why.
Jay. Come on now.
Okay, that's what. All right, I'm always up for new ideas. I was like, I'm pretty sure that's not true, but okay, explain yourself. uh, anyways, now as far as like the commercial ones go, I've lost interest in them. I won't go someplace to watch fireworks. Although I've been to several events that had fireworks that I went to, but that wasn't the reason I went. Like a couple years ago, there was um, basically a car show with some displays and then fireworks at the end of it at a M1 concourse, which is that private garage place I've told you about before. That was fun. Walk around, look at all kinds of cool cars, and and they had like food trucks and things like that. And then once it got dark, they had a fairly good fireworks display over the racetrack. That way, and it was free to get into, so I was like, that's fun. But I wouldn't go someplace just to go, oh wow, like Detroit, the city of Detroit has supposedly one of the best fireworks displays in the entire country. And there's not a chance in fucking hell I would go down there to watch that. They get like 1.5 million people down in the downtown area to watch that shit, and I want no fucking part of it.
Yeah, I'm gonna call bullshit on Detroit having one of the best fireworks displays. Just because it seems like everything we talk about, you bring up Michigan has one of the best ones, and then you're completely wrong,
Well,
like pizza.
oh, that is not true at all. It's been well documented that Detroit is one of the best pizza cities. Why do you think so many places, franchise style big places, came from Detroit? Because it's a good spot for pizza.
No,
Let's see. But
Jay, we've been over
don't
this.
distract me.
Like 39 of the top 40 pizza places are not in Michigan. But regardless, moving on, are you ready for some really sad news, Jay?
Oh no, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I am. I've had a rough day. What kind of sad news are we talking about?
This one's probably going to crush you. But as of this summer, there will be no more Segways.
Wait, are we speaking of the vehicle or the like comedic device?
No, the English language is just getting rid of Segways. We can't use those anymore. Of course, the goddamn Segway that you ride.
Really? I mean, I know the people that made that have made other designs since then, but they're getting rid of the original design, huh?
Yeah, so Segway was actually sold to a Chinese company called Ninebot back in 2015.
Okay. Oh,
And
okay.
they've just kind of been going on, and like nobody buys these stupid things anymore. So Yeah, this summer will be the last run of Segways. So, I mean, if you want one, you better start pinching some pennies.
Such a specialized device. Do you have to go far distances, but not far enough to get into your car? Are they distances that are only paved or carpet or things like that? Are you like an urban guy that just needs? Basically, it's for like 10 people on the planet. So I'm not surprised that it wasn't really well received as far as selling numbers.
I don't know. Mall cops everywhere are pouring out a shot of liquor for the Segway.
Other than Paul Blart, did any of those, was that really a thing for mall security riding segways?
I don't know. I haven't been to a mall in probably 10, 15 years, so I don't know how they actually get around.
I've been to several malls recently because it's the thing to do with the wife. And I don't recall even seeing. Well, no, the security in one of them definitely not. They look like fancy police officers walking around. That's Great Lakes Crossing, which is supposedly one of the biggest malls in the world. Don't research that. Just take my word.
Likely story.
It is supposedly what they call like a destination mall, like the Mall of America or things like that. Obviously, I think the Mall of America is way bigger than it. But Great Lakes Crossing does have some distinctions that I can't remember offhand for as far as malls go. It was a big deal when they built it about 10 years ago, maybe a little bit longer. So as far as malls go, it's relatively new, which also makes it unusual just because how many malls have been built in the last 20 years, really?
Well, this just shows how incredibly behind the times Michigan is.
Okay, now you're gonna make me actually pull out the wikis and stuff like that. Great Lakes Crossing now.
No, I really don't. None of us care. So I think it's time to move on. You will have to mourn the loss of segways. But another thing, and this is actually a pretty big deal. Did you hear that Rhode Island is going to change its name?
No, now you're just being silly. What are they going to change it to?
So, well, I mean, it's a little bit different. So their actual official name as of right now is the state of Rhode Island and Providence Plantations.
Oh, well, the rest of this story pretty much writes itself, doesn't it?
Yeah, so they have legislation out there to shorten their official name to Rhode Island.
Well, because that's a really efficient use of our politicians' time. Yay. Important things are being decided and acted on up there in Congress, huh?
Well,
Jesus
no,
Christ,
but this is
Congress,
state.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is state legislature. Do you really think there are more important things going on in Rhode Island right now?
I don't know. Let's look across the land of Rhode Island and see. I'm looking to my left, looking to my right. Okay, I just looked at all of fucking Rhode Island, so no, apparently not.
Yeah, I mean, Christ, Jay, Uncle Rico could throw a football across Rhode Island.
They got a lot of gall calling themselves a state, really. It takes balls to call yourself a state when you're really more like a neighborhood. Not even a really big neighborhood, like a medium-sized one. Yeah, they don't need state like government on that level. They need like a homeowners association to take that would take care of all that shit.
No, they just need to be absorbed by another state. So,
well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a big waste of government.
Either you give them to Connecticut, or I think New York is the other bordering state.
Yeah, I got no problems with that. Despite the fact that many of my Michigan friends would probably hate me for saying it, Michigan should probably give the Upper Peninsula back to Wisconsin. If you look at it, it's theirs. We're just borrowing it because of an odd land deal back in the 1700s or some shit like that.
So before we go on, let's address this, because Camicom apparently wants to call in but can't find headphones. Who doesn't have headphones near them? But he wants to talk about the whole Bubba Wallace noose thing.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and set the stage here. So I go ahead and I take the headline that they found a noose in the garage or whatever, posted on the OG. Of course, he posts another one saying that it's a Jussie Smollett thing and Bubba Wallace planted it himself, or it's a false flag. So now he thinks that somehow his side has won, because it comes out that there is like a garage rope that they use to like open and close the garage, and it was fashioned into a noose like last year. And it just so happened that this is the black guy's garage. So the Justice Department actually stepped in. NASCAR was doing an investigation as well. They end up finding out that it's been there since, I think, October of last year. So it wasn't a false flag. It wasn't his team. It wasn't the driver himself. But it also wasn't some racist asshole. So this is actually probably the best news for either side. Number one, you don't have a black person or a liberal or whatever trying to make a false claim of racist shit. And you also don't have racist shit going on. So as weird as the OG is, like, technically this is kind of a win for everyone.
Interesting. May I play devil's advocate?
Absolutely.
Alrighty. I'm sure, because I can understand where people are coming from on both sides. Hate crimes suck, but yeah, there are a fair amount of hoaxes, so it's hard to tell what's real and what's not. I'm sure the people that are on the extreme side that are going to say, why didn't he notice this back in October when he started using the garage?
That's not, it's for a race, Jay. It was the first day that they were there for the race.
Okay, it wasn't his normal garage.
Well, no, this is a NASCAR thing. Every time you have a race, like, you're assigned a garage. So yeah, this isn't something that they've been there.
Okay, good. That takes care of one of the devil's advocate things. So basically, yeah, the only thing you could possibly accuse that guy of is seeing it and intentionally misinterpreting it for publicity, and that's a whole nother discussion, really.
Yeah. So, but that's the thing. Like, you can't ever prove that. But regardless, and people are saying it's what did Homelander say? It was a boating knot. It looked enough like a noose that the team reported it, that the Justice Department, like, news release called it a noose, and that NASCAR called it a noose. And NASCAR got the report and decided they needed to launch an investigation. Like, there's enough there to tell you that this thing, to the normal eye, not necessarily somebody that knows a boating knot, is going to say, that's a fucking noose.
Right. In either case, regardless of whether he actually thought someone would put that there, or he looked at it and said, "Okay, that looks like a noose." It definitely, that's not one of the questioning points. Just because it's not quite in a noose knot or anything like that. The actual question becomes whether or not he honestly believed someone hung that there, or if he saw it and thought it would be an opportunity to get the social media attention. So that's what the argument is at this point, I guess, if you want to put all the facts together. In my opinion, I don't know. I hate making judgments on that because I like to think the best of people, but the other side does have a good point when they say the percentages are more hoaxes than not hoaxes. So I like to wait until everything really settles down and all the facts come out before I make any decisions, because even though there's quite a few hoaxes, that's a really serious thing to think about people, and I'd rather wait until I know everything before I make that kind of decision.
Right, and that does totally make sense. I think I'm generally in the camp that I'm not going to victim blame until everything comes out, and I'm still not in a position where I'm going to blame him or his team, because they see that shit. He's the only black NASCAR driver in deep Alabama. This is in Talladega, so it's in it's in an interesting place. Like, you see that, I can obviously see, like, where they would think something's up there. But again, it's still good news to both sides. Number one, it wasn't a racist thing. Number two, it wasn't him or his team, like, planting some crazy shit. So this is not, this isn't comparable in the slightest to the Jussie Smollett thing. Like, that dumbass should be in jail.
Yep. You're right. You're right on all counts. Even playing devil's advocate, it's nothing like that as far as, like, severity of what they were doing. And then back to talking about Jussie. Yeah, I agree 100%. That dude needs to be in jail. He committed several crimes, and I'm really, really happy that they've looked into it and they are trying to prosecute him. As I mentioned before, his double jeopardy claim was turned down by a judge, so everything is still proceeding. What actually happens to the dude, who knows? But his career is pretty much fucking tanked at this point. All the people that stood by him during all of it won't touch him now. Other than, like, the fringe loonies that want to support him, he's pretty much done.
Oh yeah, he absolutely should be done. Like,
Yeah.
why would you give that dude a fucking job? If he, like, you already know
Right.
he's that mentally unstable. Like,
Hmm.
do you really want to be responsible for him?
Right, right. Which is a different type of shunning than what that stand-up comedy guy is going through right now. His is still in the unofficial official, although apparently all of his comedy dates have been canceled. People are showing like your tickets are going to be refunded messages they're getting from the different ticket organizations. Um, Apparently, they've taken all of his stuff off of everything except for Netflix, which is probably going to be next. So I think which I think includes Spotify. So I think if you went go look for him on Spotify right now, you wouldn't even be able to hear any of his jokes.
Are you
I could be
talking
wrong about that part.
Dalia again?
Yes, yes. I just
Oh,
had
okay.
trouble remembering how to say his last name.
Well, yeah, you and fucking names. Goddamn, Jay.
And apparently this is just spreading around. I haven't seen anything official on it, but on the OG thread, people are talking that Jeff Ross is starting to get accusations now.
So this is the thing that's like, goddamn. Like, yes, a lot of this. And one, did you see there's this like huge thing, like apparently in the pro wrestling industry that like people are getting canceled left and right for doing rapey shit.
Yeah, I've heard a couple things. Like I've heard Matt Riddle's got a couple a accusation against him. Anyways, although I don't know, pay attention to pro wrestling at all, but I pay attention to Matt Riddle because he was in the UFC at one point. So I hear about him through UFC, like MMA sources and websites and such. So he's still on my radar. And apparently, he caught one of those the same night that he got his big premiere on some wrestling show or another, and this one doesn't sound like a very sticky one, so to speak. So I'm not sure if it will affect his career or any, but obviously nobody wants any kind of accusation like that on him at this point.
Well, and the crazy thing is how far these fucking idiots take it. Like, so there was another one. I was just reading on it today. There was another wrestler guy that apparently on a podcast in 2016 said something about he had like a tryout with the WWE, and one of the women was so fucking gorgeous that like she was gorgeous to the point that you had to restrain yourself from raping her. Obviously making the stupid joke.
Yeah, that's some poor word choice.
And then people are looking for this guy to get like fired and blackballed.
Right.
It's like, this was an offhanded comment from 2016. Of course, he came out. He apologized for it. He actually called the person that like it was directed to, and they talked through it and like all of this shit. But like people are still like, no, fire, cancel, blah blah blah. God damn, Jay, what the hell?
I don't know, and it's getting pretty bad. Some reality show chick, I think we talked about her a couple weeks ago briefly, said some shit or did some shit or like tried to intimidate like one of our fellow black actresses or said something bad. I can't remember what the exact thing is. So she got canceled. All of her upcoming shows, this, that, and the other. Here's where it gets scary. Her husband, who is like the host of a morning talk show or something like that.
Oh, this is the Canadian thing, right?
I can't remember if it's Canadian or Australia, but he basically he was either Canada or Australia's version of Ryan Seacrest. So he was one of those guys that hosted a lot of shows and things like that. He got fired, not for anything he did, but because he's married to her. And I can't imagine how the contracts are written that they can get away with that, but it's a thing.
Yeah, so like a lot of people have been talking about introducing legislation that is like anti-cancel culture. That like any business or whatever has to wait like a minimum of like 6 months or something from like anything coming out that an employee said or something like that to take action based solely off that. Like that's an interesting idea because like over 6 months, right? Like the ridiculous fervor is going to die down. They can actually look into it internally. Decide like, is this person truly a piece of shit or are they still an asset to the company? And it would shield them from the people freaking out saying fire this person. They say, hey, our hands are tied, we have to wait 6 months and we have to look into this. By the time 6 months hit, the crazies will already be on somebody else's ass.
Right, this is assumed obviously there's no legal ramifications to these accusations.
Well, yeah, that's a different thing. I'm talking about just the people that say something crazy and then all of a sudden people are, trying to get them fired.
Right. And speaking of this kind of stuff, and I didn't click on the headline for this because I just figured it'd make me angry. But the headline that I saw the other day is Magic the Gathering artist fired for who he follows on Twitter. Um, Wizards of the Coast, which is the company that owns D&D and Magic the Gathering and a whole bunch of other like nerd related stuff, has been getting very very socially conscious lately. Things that they've done. One of the things they did for Magic the Gathering was basically banned a whole bunch of old cards that seemed racist. Like there's a card called Cleanse that this is destroy all non-white creatures, which is sounds kind of I know it sounds racist, but basically the game runs by having 5 different colors: white, black, red, green, and blue. And all the different spells and monsters are related to those different colors. So when it says destroy all non-white creatures, it doesn't mean save everybody but Whitey. It means it means destroy all other creatures that are not associated with that spell color. But they got rid of it anyways.
So it's still destroy everything but white.
Yes,
and it's called Cleanse.
Yes.
Like, couldn't they have thought maybe destroy everything but green? Like they could have picked any other color and that would have been okay.
Right. But they have those type of cards too, destroy all non-black creatures, but they're not banning that one. And several other cards like that really, if you read them, it's not even really, hold on.
It's like having a card called, Deliciousness and it being stack watermelon on all black cards.
There, see, that's something that obviously should be banned. Let's see the list of now banned cards: Prejudice, Cleanse, Stone Throwing Devils, Prodish Gypsies, Jihad, Imprison, and Crusade.
So like a lot of them are okay, but like really that Cleanse one does seem a little bit in poor taste there, Jay.
Right. Where damn it, they won't even show me the cards. They've been banned from the internet. You can't even see them. Well, like Invoke Prejudice. This is a blue card, and basically it says if opponent casts a summon spell that does not match the color of the one of the creatures under your control, that spell is countered unless da 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 da. And it shows like a guy in a executioner's hood with an axe, but the executioner's hood kind of looks like a like maybe a KK thing, a KKK robe, but it's black instead of white. So they think that's racist. Crusade, white creatures get a +1/+1. That's apparently racist now. Jihad, choose a color. As long as opponent has cards of this color in play, all white creatures gain a +1/+2. I think that's more for the name than anything else.
Yeah, doesn't that actually sound more like a reverse jihad?
Doesn't it though? Yeah. Crusade, all black creatures in play are destroyed. That's the card. The one you said sounds pretty bad. Stone Throwing Devils, just its first strike. I have no clue why that one's racist, but apparently it is. And Prejudice Gypsies, because apparently you can't use the word gypsy anymore. That's offensive.
Those dirty gypsies.
And there's a couple more, but you get the idea. So that was the first thing that caught my attention of Wizard of Gathering people trying to clean up their image. I didn't know they needed it. But
well, they just need to actually clean up because fucking nerds are generally pretty poor at personal hygiene.
But now they've actually fired one of their artists because apparently they follow the wrong people on Twitter. So on top of everything else that you have to worry about, you better go through your Twitter list and make sure nobody on there is saying fucked up things, because you can lose your job for that too.
I don't know. I heard a different version of this one, Jay. I heard the guy actually got fired because it was proven he's no longer a virgin.
Oh, Jesus.
But speaking of prejudice and crazy shit, did you hear about this soldier that's being tried for treason?
No. Tell me more about that, Mr. Dalton.
Yeah, so there was this God, what was he? Was he Army? I don't know offhand because I don't have it. Yes, he is Army. So there was this guy that put a bunch of information together and on his unit and got it off to a neo-Nazi group to ambush and kill them.
Wait, okay, back up again. Now, what kind of unit was he in?
In the Army.
Just like a basic army, like infantry or something like that.
Yeah, it doesn't give a ton of detail about his, about where he was assigned and his role and the people that were in his unit, but yeah, that's really fucked up. Meltzer allegedly attempted to orchestrate a murderous ambush on his own unit by unlawfully revealing its location, strength, and armaments to a neo-Nazi anarchist white supremacist group.
And where was this again? I'm sorry, I must have blanked when you first started telling me about this. But what country was this in the United States? Where were they stationed?
It doesn't give that information.
Oh,
obviously they're generally not going to give like that type of information in these things.
I'm trying to imagine the situation where all of this information would be useful to some sort of like, anarchist, white supremacist, whatever group it is. At what point would they start raiding army units? I mean, is this a thing that I missed?
Yeah, I don't know, but like, yeah, this guy,
it's just very confusing.
This is the like firing squad type of shit that should happen to this guy.
Oh, well, and it's probably, I mean, he's super fucked. Military law is way stricter than civilian law. He's in all kinds of fucking trouble. This guy will probably be breaking big rocks into little tiny rocks for the rest of his life in some shitty military prison.
Although one very interesting thing, and it shows just how stupid this guy was, not only stupid enough to obviously get caught, but his idea of getting this over to this neo-Nazi group is that eventually the information would get to jihadists to do the actual killing. Like somehow he didn't realize that neo-Nazis and jihadists aren't exactly buddy-buddy.
Oh, Jesus Christ. So he thought the neo-Nazis would be like a messenger system. Yeah, exactly. How is that going to work? They bundle one of their guys up into a commercial airplane, fly him over to the Middle East, and the guy just wanders the desert until he manages to meet some jihadists and say, "Boy, guys, are you going to be glad you met me? I've got some fucking really important information. Someplace, I know fucking exactly what these guys are eating and what they're shitting and where they're going tomorrow, dude. This could be really useful information. Let me tell you." I mean, holy fuck, dude. I mean, he should go to jail forever just for being that stupid.
Yeah, so this entire situation is super fucked up, but good thing they caught this guy, and I'm sure he will have appropriate punishment, meaning he's probably going to be in a very, very dark hole, and it's probably going to be patrolled by the military, and they're probably going to make his days not so fun.
And for something so stupid, if his plan would have been completely successful, nothing would have been accomplished. It must be fucking... I don't know. Does he realize that? He probably never will. This is probably a good thing for him to, if he ever realized that he's going to jail for the rest of his life for something that if he was eminently successful would have done fucking nothing. It's got to be a really depressing thought. Spending like 30 years in jail thinking you're a fucking idiot, because he is.
Yeah, that's... So I think he's being charged with like 2 or 3 counts of some like treason thing, and obviously every count, like the maximum sentence is obviously life. So he's totally fucked.
Oh, dude, did you see this headline? George R.R. Martin aims to finish Winds of Winter in 2021 after quarantine writing boost. Dude, fucking, at this point, I'm not even sure if the dude knows how to write. I think he just throws rocks at his typewriter until he gets a series of words that make sense and then copies that down. Fucking, dude, no one's ever been this fucking slow to write shit in their entire life.
Well, like, yeah, wasn't he supposed to finish this, like, well before Game of Thrones was even over?
Oh, yeah, that was the deal. He's like, I've only got, like, 1.5 books to write, because I think one was, there was 2 to be released during the series. Like, and one was released shortly after the series started or something like that. And the next one never got fucking released. So, as much as people like to bag on the directors, producers that did the show, they only had so much to work with. And, they're not like really awesome writers like super slow fucking Martin is. They had to make shit up. I mean, they knew how it was supposed to end according to him, but they, all the ground in the middle after a certain point was up to them.
Well, still, he's exposed as a shit writer then if he gave them the ending. Because that ending was fucking stupid.
Um, you mean the direct ending? Yeah,
Yeah,
where
paraplegic dude is fucking running shit now.
oh, you mean that? And that I'm sure that part is probably what he gave them. That Bran ends up being the king in the end. And dude, there's worse things than
No,
that.
he is the worst fucking choice of anyone.
You mean the all-knowing, all-seeing guy that that no one can fool? Yeah, you're right. That's a horrible choice for a king. Um,
But he's not. He doesn't want to be the king. Like,
yep, that makes him better.
he's going to end up dead. Like, I'm sorry, at that point in time, being a paraplegic, you're not going to have a long lifespan. Fuck that
No,
dude.
probably not. Probably not. But I think that was one of the parts that they did fairly well. Because what they said was true. You know, he's not going to have any kids, and he's not going to live terribly long. So basically, they're setting up to make it so that you can never have like a line of kings that end up shitty. Because after every king dies, his peers pick the new one. Supposedly, that makes it so that you won't have like a shitty kings like the last couple that they had.
Yeah, they're going to end up having absolute shit kings. Because number one, he's never proven he could lead anyone. Like, he's just kind of a dumbass. He has no history leading. He's going to be dead in 5 years, and then they're going to elect someone else, and then they're going to, go ahead and lead for 40, 50 years, and then they're just going to pass it down because everyone's going to forget about the 4-year reign of Raven fucking three-eyed dork.
And don't get me wrong, he was one of my least favorite characters throughout the entire series. He went from boring and boring to annoying. So that I was not a big fan of his story arc from start to finish. I'm not gonna lie, but I didn't mind how they ended it like that. There's big parts that I didn't like at the end. I thought the entire Danny stabbing, excuse me, Jon Snow stabbing Danny was kind of and the dragon freaking out and melting the throne and flying away was dumb as fucking dumb could be. But there were big parts of the last season I liked. The sacking of King's Landing was fucking awesome. Some of the best TV I've ever seen.
Yeah, except the whole fact that nobody got the story arc to fucking kill what's her face.
Oh, Cersei.
Her and Incest Boy just fucking dying, looking at each other. Like, we're finally together and shit's collapsing on us. Blah, blah, blah. Fuck that. Lazy bullshit writing. It was all terrible.
That's not lazy bullshit writing. That's just the directors making a different decision than you liked. And I agree. I would have liked to see her suffer quite a bit more. But that didn't like make me hate that episode or anything like that. Now, here's another one of the big sticking points people had was Arya killing the Night King. And other than the fact it looked like she jumped at him off of a trampoline, I didn't have any issues with that.
Well, like, who else was going to do it?
Right. Yeah, I thought it was an eminently good choice for a character that supposedly was equipped to do that. Most people focus on the fact that it looked like she was jumping off of a pile of corpses to get to the guy or something like that. But that's a minor fucking quibble.
And that's the other thing, though. The greatest fucking thing to like threaten the existence of fucking everyone. She takes him out single-handedly. We turn over the reins to fucking Wheelchair Boy. Fuck out of here.
Well, let's be realistic. Arya would not be the best king. We'd end up with about a half the population that we started with. But you know what really bummed me out was that they can't kill the Hound at the very end. I was really, really, really hoping for a spin-off series of Arya and the Hound. Those episodes were some of my favorites when they were together.
Yeah, they weren't too bad, I guess.
Yeah.
But still, that entire show, just once they got to the last season, it was absolute bullshit. Speaking of TV shows, though, have you ever started The Wire? You were supposed to do that, right?
Yes, I was. But once again, that probably won't happen for quite a while. I don't watch much TV in the first place, and I haven't had a lot of free time. That's one of the things I'm probably going to have to hit up this December, really. Although I'll try to squeeze in a couple episodes when I get a chance. I'm always looking for something to watch with the wife.
Because Homelander started it, and fucking that show is just great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it wasn't, and that was originally an HBO show, wasn't it?
Yes. And it's kind of
HBO
funny, like
really-
you can see like how all of this kind of grew together. Like there's quite a few people, like the original, well, one of the original big shows on HBO was Oz, right?
Yeah, and I know about that one. I've seen a couple episodes, but not enough to really know who the characters are or anything like that. But enough to know what the show is about.
Right. And then several of the people from Oz you end up seeing on The Wire.
Hmm.
And then several people on The Wire you end up seeing on The Shield. Like it's funny, like these big TV shows, like it seems like the same characters just kind of keep flowing through.
Right, right. And it's funny. I think so. God, who are they talking about? They were talking about on the OG about sitcoms and TV shows like this, and why actors are always chomping at the bit to get on a good one. Because they were talking about someone that might be canceled, and you know what? They were talking about fucking that Ariel Winter chick, and they're hoping that she was going to do porn. and someone said, don't get your hopes up. She was on a really successful TV show for 10 years. Her residuals are probably going to pay her lifestyle for the rest of her life, as long as she doesn't get too crazy. And someone else pointed out that's why the guy that plays Kramer hasn't had the move to Reseda yet, because despite the fact that Seinfeld's been over for 20 years and he got canceled like 10 years ago, he's probably still getting fat checks from his Seinfeld years.
Well, goddamn right he was. This is like one of the most syndicated shows ever.
Right. So God knows, So a lot of these guys, people that get on a TV show and have one relatively good show in them, but if it sticks around for 5 or 10 years and then goes into syndication, they're paid for the rest of their life. So I'm sure it's not as like a high class lifestyle as the super A-list movie stars that are getting $5 to $10 million a movie, but retiring to like a nice neighborhood and living off your fucking like sitcom checks for the rest of your life is not a horrible thing.
Well, it's like the male cast from Friends. Did any of them do anything noteworthy after that? Or did they just fucking retire on their couch of cash?
Matt LeBrock still works a fair amount, or at least he was last time I was checking. He's done minor stuff. They tried to give him a sitcom that didn't go too well. And he's big into cars, so I know I think he did a year of or two of Top Gear after they
canceled that guy.
Cast. Right, after they canceled Jeremy Clarkson. So it didn't really have good ratings, and that made me sad because that was a really fun show. I enjoyed it quite a bit. And basically, when they tried to do the same show on Amazon, called the Grand Tour, it wasn't as good. It seems like they were way more self-aware of themselves and their jokes, and nothing seemed like as funny. Some of the like travel the world things that they do are still good in that show, but it just seems like a shadow of the original one.
Well, anytime they try to reboot stuff like that, it's generally god awful. Like, remember the original Man Show? It was fucking hilarious. The reboot, terrible.
Speaking of the Man Show, apparently Jimmy Kimmel is next up on Let's Cancel a Motherfucker.
Yeah, I don't think he'll end up actually being canceled.
Do you think that his recent hiatus is actually because he wanted to spend some time with his family, or if he heard what was coming down the pipeline?
No, I think it probably was just to take some time. Like this whole like quarantine thing, like it's hit people different ways. And like the one thing you see is the people that have continued to do a show, like when they've had to do it from home, generally those shows are fucking terrible.
There's not enough production in them.
Yeah, so there's also something to be said of like, how could we miss you if you never fucking leave?
Apparently he has done a shitload of shows with very little vacation time.
Right, so like it is an actual strategy is like you end up finding a time that you can take time away, and then when you come back, people are like, oh my god, this is the greatest thing, we've missed this. As opposed to just doing the same shit for year after year after year after year.
Well, do you think, so you don't think it's going to affect him that much? He'll still come back at the end of it and brush it off?
Yeah, for the most part. Because, like, what they're talking about are, like, skits on a fucking, like, CD and shit like that. Like, it isn't like personal statements and like junk like that. Like, this was all part of like actual entertainment. It's, yeah, I don't see that one really sticking.
People got canceled for less. Look at the Papa John guy. You know, fucking, he got in trouble for using the word while telling his employees not to use the word. I mean, you know, I mean, come on, you know, that's about as least racist as you can use the word, from what I understand. And he fucking had to sell the company and shit.
Yeah, there was
him, I can.
There was more with him though. I'd have to go back and look through it, but like, he is kind of a piece of shit.
Well, that's not relevant to what happened to him though, unless
well, it was because there's more than there was more than just that.
Oh, racially wise. I mean, but I mean, you see what I'm saying? I mean, tons of people are getting in trouble, like for, you know, just innocently saying the word. I mean, so it wouldn't surprise me. Plus, he's done blackface before several different times. I don't get me wrong. I think it's all silly and he shouldn't be canceled, but I think there's a good chance he might catch some shit from it, dude.
Well, he didn't really do blackface. Blackface is like a thing. Right, it's like true thing, blackface. Yeah. He did Karl Malone, and it was fucking hilarious.
Right, but they're going to call it blackface because that's what they call that whenever a white person portrays a black person now, and which is also wrong on top of everything else. The entire cancel culture is fucking bullshit.
I wonder when they're going to cancel Chappelle for doing whiteface.
Shit, yeah. You know, I was about to recite some lines from that skit, but I think I'm not gonna now.
Yeah, probably not.
I don't need me on record yelling racist shit because Dave Chappelle was saying it. That just seems like a poor idea now. I don't know. But
I'm just talking about the other like Chappelle skits that weren't racist, where he just plays the white guy.
Oh yeah. As
like the reparations when he's out, you know, he's interviewing the guy, and that's where you got the great line of "I'm rich, bitch."
Yeah, or the one where he plays in a TV show Wife Swap as a white couple and a black couple, and he plays like both sides.
Right, Chappelle is a goddamn national hero.
He really is. He's so fucking funny. I like the dude so much, and I've watched him like throughout his entire career because he started off early in movies like Half Baked and all that good shit, and then did some stand up, and then then obviously blew up with the Chappelle Show, and just dude, it feels like I know the dude, although obviously I don't. Yeah.
Half Baked was a very underrated movie.
Oh, that was fucking hilarious. So, whenever someone starts saying that they're going to quit their job, I always get that scene from Half Baked in my head. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You're cool. Fuck you. I'm out of here.
Yeah, only that guy had way more charisma than you, Jay.
Well, yeah, I can tell he's in a movie and I'm not. Thanks for rubbing it in. Like the entire poor guy. It was that guy's name, Harlan something or another. He's an underrated comic as well. Killing the horse by feeding it too much food. This horse is a diabetic.
Yeah, I don't remember that guy's name. I know who you're talking about, but I don't remember him.
And I just love the fact that they had Steve. God fucking, I'm gonna draw on a blank. He's a hilarious comedian. You know what I'm talking about? The guy that slept on the couch the entire time.
What the fuck is his name? Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I can't think of the name.
Yeah. The one has the really, really, really great deadpan delivery. I bought dehydrated water. I don't know what to add to it. My neighbors have a circular driveway. They can't get out. And that is spot on delivery for once because it's so easy to do his deadpan talking. God, I can't remember his name. Stephen Wright. That's who it is. Fucking hilarious. He I didn't follow it all, but at one point he told an entire 200-page story through his Twitter, just tweeting it out line after line. But yeah, he's a great comic, and he's the dude that was on the couch sleeping the entire time.
Yeah, not a big fan. As far as people that had cameos in that movie, like the much more memorable ones was Bob Saget, the fact that he sucked dick for coke.
God, anybody who's only seen his Full House shit is in for a very large surprise if they watch Bob Saget stand up. He works really blue. Swears like a motherfucker, really, which is great. I always it always surprises you when a comic hits you like that you weren't aware of. Do you know who Buddy Hackett is?
Nope.
You ever seen the old? This is probably a reach. The old Herbie the Love Bug movies about the little Volkswagen.
No, unfortunately, I'm not eligible for AARP.
Well, the mechanic in a couple of those movies was Buddy Hackett. He always played a lovable, if slightly doofy, guy. And that's who I thought he was until like at the age of like 14 or 15, catching some of his stand up, and he's talking about drinking bull semen and just fucking off the wall, dirty ass shit. I'm like, oh, Buddy, oh.
The problem is
sure,
though, and this goes to Saget as well, is like he uses it as a crutch. Like he has a few funny things in there, but like the entire premise of his stand-up, like after Full House, was the fact that I'm just going to be as dirty as possible. So you're like, oh my God, that was the faller on Full House, and he's saying, "Come guzzling gutter slut." What the hell?
Oh yeah, I don't think he's funny. Don't get me wrong. But I think it's a really funny thing to see people when they first see his comedy, because it's such a surprise the first time you get it. I never thought Bob Saget was all that funny. As you mentioned, that's probably for the same reason. I don't think swearing for the sake of swearing is all that funny, or edgy just for the sake of being edgy is all that funny. Like I'm not a big fan of Lisa Lampanelli because most of the shit she says is just to say fucked up shit.
Well, and women aren't funny.
Yeah, and there's a couple other female comics that do the same thing.
Who are also not funny.
How dirty I am. Yeah, I know we already established there's like 3 funny women in the entire history of comedy.
No, we said there was 0.
Roseanne, Lucille Ball, and a third one, which I'm sure I'm forgetting.
You only like Roseanne because you wanted her to be your mother.
Okay, I might be prejudiced about it, but yes, I always thought she had funny stand-up.
Yeah, but you also thought Bill Cosby was a great human being, and so much for that.
Yeah, well...
Did you see he's getting an appeal?
He is?
Yeah,
really?
He gets to try his case again and go through all that detail of it being a complete and utter fucking psychopath.
And he'll probably lose again. God damn, that bothers me so fucking much.
Like, honestly, and nothing against the guy, he just needs to go ahead and die. Like, he's 94 years old or some shit. Like, do we really need to, like, waste the court's time?
Yeah, I mean, it's true. It's not like he's going to, win his appeal and go out and record a new comedy album or something like that. So, I mean, he's probably done being, as far as, like, his regular life. He's just going to sit around and, and be... And here's the thing. They probably should just let the fucker go and put him in under house arrest anyways. There's no point in wasting our fucking taxes on it. Just make him so he can't leave his house and let him die. At this point, I don't really see any point in wasting a whole bunch of money locking him up until he dies.
Well, other than the fact of, like, actually, putting some sort of punishment out there.
Well, yeah, but you got it. Realistically speaking, he's not. I'm sure he's like locked up by himself for the most part. So
fuck that. He's snorting blue pills, ordering hookers.
Probably. He's probably king of the prison.
No, I'm talking if he would have been out. If he was out on his own, like, yeah, he could just fucking take all the blue pills he wants. He still has his millions of dollars of nest egg. Like, so it wasn't a government thing why Backpage got shut down. It was that Bill Cosby went to jail, so their target market's gone.
Yeah, that was weird that was the thing for a while, wasn't it? All of a sudden, just for like this brief window of a couple of years, it's like, oh, by the way, prostitution is legal if you can find it on the internet. It's right here. Check it out. And then after a couple of years, the federal government was like, oh, fuck, maybe we should do something about that.
Yeah, why did that one take so long? It was like, this is the most transparent fucking thing in the world. Now, mind you, like, so for the most part, like, if we could guarantee, like, safety of people, prostitution should be 100% legal. Like, it is the oldest goddamn profession, but, like, the thing you need to take care of, obviously, is all, like, the trafficking and the bad side of it.
Right.
But like
Right.
if you can take care of that and you can like have it be kind of, the wholesome whores of yesteryear, like it's perfectly fine.
Exactly. You make sure that it's a young entrepreneur that wants to make money in whatever way she sees fit, and that's fine. It's like you said, it's when people get taken advantage of and other illicit activities into it that it makes it a bad thing. There's nothing wrong with one person paying somebody else to have sex. Why I don't know why that's illegal, but if you record it, suddenly it's legal.
Yeah, like I mean, if you want to give a chick a dirty pirate and she wants $200 for it, like, hey, cool. You guys met in the middle. There's a supply and demand.
Right. And seriously, that is so fucking weird. I mean, I know there's more to it. I guess you need licenses, or maybe you don't even need that. But the fact that there's certain states that said, basically if you record it and try to sell that recording, it's perfectly okay. But if you don't record it or don't try to sell that recording, then it's against the law. How does that make sense in any way, shape, or form? I just don't get it.
What? Sly Dog, you don't know the Dirty Pirate? Jay, do you know the Dirty Pirate?
Is that like a Dirty Sanchez?
No, this was a Patrice O'Neal thing. It was where you're fucking a chick, you end up coming in her eye, and then you also kick her in the shin. So then that way she comes out at you, only be able to see out of one eye, and basically like walking like she's on a peg leg. You okay there, Jay?
Sorry, guys. Yeah, I'm okay. I needed that one, man. It's been a rough day. Shit, man. I don't got anything else, man. You got anything else to cover these last 2 minutes, man?
I'm sure we have to have something. God damn. Shit. Well, we do have fights coming up this weekend, so we will need to do that tomorrow. Go through our fight picks of a bunch of people I've never heard of. It does look like they did fill out the card, though, so I'm guessing whatever you saw on that site has now been added. I think they're up to a total of like 9 or 10 fights.
Oh, that's good, yeah, because they need that, obviously.
Speaking of fighting, did you see the John Jones thing? No, where he got offended by like Hollister or something?
No, I know nothing of this.
God damn, I gotta find this really quick. Like, what was it? Like, Dominic Reyes, like, laughed at him for it. God damn.
They're already starting to call John Jones retired fighter John Jones. I saw that on like some thing about Steve-O wrestling Holly Holmes and stuff. They refer to John Jones as retired fighter John Jones.
Okay, so yeah, so there was a pair of jeans that he found that had a label that are super skinny black, and it was like /negro, because obviously negro in Spanish is black.
Right.
So of course he got offended by that. And
wait, what? So this Hollister dude posted on Twitter that the pair of jeans or something?
No, Hollister is a brand of clothing, Jay.
Oh, okay. I thought, okay. So he found that somehow on the internet and got offended about it?
Yeah, so John Jones goes, I'm totally aware how to say the word black in Spanish. I still feel like Hollister's choice of words were insensitive and insulting. Call me sensitive if you want, but today I was totally insulted.
Okay, and he realizes that Hollister is a Spanish company, not yet too, right?
And then Dominic Reyes comes back. Where was he? Well, actually, first a fan came back. It's like, do you want the Spanish people not be able to find their clothes, John? And then Reyes piled on of, John Jones is an actual idiot.
Jesus Christ. I know, everyone's looking to be sensitive. I don't understand people sometimes. Yeah, man. I don't know. Fuck. It's been such a shit day. Let's just call it. I want to thank the OG Army for showing up. I always appreciate you guys. I want to thank Kamikon for showing up. Unfortunately, you were not able to talk, apparently, because of the whole headphone things. Let me know. I can always send you a pair of shitty headphones, dude. They're like $3. So I'll hook you up, brother. I want to thank my partner, Big Dalton. Couldn't do the show without him. Dalton, what do you got?
I've got two things. The first thing. No, I don't have two things. Next thing. Fuck all y'all.
Everybody have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow at 6 o'clock. Bye-bye.
Screw you, hippie!